Hello, we are at Success School, a foreign language centre, which is situated in Brovary. This is Natalia. She's an English teacher and also in charge of the company, a Success School language centre.
Okay, yeah. Hi, meet Evan. He's from Exeter, Great Britain.
I came to Ukraine to gain experience, work experience in amazing opportunity to be a native speaker and to be in charge of a speaking club here, and it's a fabulous opportunity, so I'm happy. And now we're going to have a discussion which is based on successful teaching principles and methods.
Right. Successful teaching, right.
And okay, let's begin.
Right, okay.
Okay, first of all, our first question today. I'm more of my interest as well. What motivates you to be good at teaching?
Okay, usually it's a question how I motivate students, right? But you're interested what motivates me. Well, first of all, it's motivated students, of course. It's fairly motivating. When you look into their bright, willing eyes, you understand how important you become, and it's fairly inspiring. Another point is motivated colleagues. I start looking to them and taking ideas from them. It's the simplest way. A man is known by the company he keeps. And what is more is this inner need demanding you to move on, to pursue new goals and accomplish challenging tasks. So for me it's not trivial, not ordinary. I exhaust all my efforts to make teaching creative and interesting.
Yeah, I feel so much passion.
Yeah.
You. Like, it's just okay. I completely agree with you on that point of view. And also, I have another interest of which pedagogical methods or approaches more successful in practical in teaching nowadays?
Well, you know that grammar translation method was dominating for a long time, and grammar was supposed to be the most important, while vocabulary was the least. But you know that without grammar you can express a few things, and whereas without vocabulary you can express nothing. That's why in the 1970s it's changed. The new approach called CLT appeared. It means communicative language teaching. And the main principle of CLT is learning a language through communication. So the main positives are that communicative approach involves meaningful communication, which is learner-centered and concerns real-life interaction.
Okay.
And students learn vocabulary through authentic context, and it makes them become better learners and better students, ultimately helping them to produce good language. So I think that CLT is the dominating approach now. Well, and I like it. Okay,
so to my understanding, it's nowadays most present teaching materials based on CLT.
Right.
Okay, interesting, because it's so precise and detailed information. Okay,
Okay, Vin, I know that you deliver speaking clubs. So, which activities do you do during your clubs which support language learning?
Well, Natalia, my regular sessions usually include some grammar activities, exercises. Sometimes we have dialogues, role plays, numerous discussions and topics on daily news, facts. We also play games, board games, because it's a friendly environment and where a group feels much more comfortable to discuss, to speak without worries, without making mistakes. They also, there is some role plays that include some sort of methods and simple discussions. There's no like a advanced or complex like requirement. Like any person could speak and just different levels of development. They could just express their point of views to me. So it depends on their styles and their level, but I set my plan, my daily plan for session, for lesson, regularly from basic. So first I'll start with some grammar exercises, maybe some idioms, structures that they're absolutely in love with because it's something new. Also some terminology they never heard before. It's usually it's always good for them to know. So yes, that's basically, I keep it straight, basic and simple.
Okay, Vin, what do you think? Can students learn a language without being taught grammar?
Well, in my personal opinion, I think definitely it's possible, because it's not about the level of grammar, of students' level of grammar or their education in school. It's because I can only set on historical evidence that people managed to speak in the family, in surroundings, between other people, without going to school, without education, because I think there's a method of copying, imitation, and learning from the people around you to speak, and I think it's possible. Grammar is only to, yes, it's definitely a priority to be a much more intellectual, much more educated person, but to speak a language, even if it's German or Spanish or English, you can, if you have people around you, surroundings around you, that environment, you can definitely do it. It's not a problem, in my point of view. And this is in my experience, it proves to be a fact that speaking clubs are that example where it happens, where people have a low level proficiency of a language, but they can still listen and pick up on certain words and learn from a native speaker to manage very well speaking skills. So yes, so reading, writing, it's a very important thing for language, but it doesn't say that it's impossible. It's definitely,
Well, I agree, because a communicative approach implies that students learn grammar to communicate, and they learn it through context, through situation. So
precisely,
we have
precisely.
Right. Okay.
Natalie, so what actually are language skills are more emphasized nowadays?
Have you ever wondered why people start learning English? If you ask around, you can hear that I need it because I travel a lot. Others say I need it for my work. So, in real life, people, just children or adults, they need it to communicate. That's why communication skills is a priority. And when we teach children or adults, so speaking communication is emphasized, and it integrates 4 basic skills: writing, reading, listening, and speaking as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could agree with you on, because pronunciation is definitely a key skill,
of course.
and also, like you said, to get employed nowadays in a global market. In English is a business language, which is important to have the ability to not just read and write and to pronounce and to, because I think it increases your speed and pace of understanding at work, which from point of employer is a valuable asset.
It shouldn't be neglected, of course. Of course, it's very important.
Absolutely, I can agree with that. So how do you plan your lesson? That's what interests me.
Of course, I consult teacher's book and other recommendations that can be useful. And when planning a lesson, I ask myself why I'm going to do this or that activity. What will I get in the end? What feedback? I make sure that my students have enough drilling and accomplish the task successfully. If I give something them, if I can give them the task which is too difficult for them, of course it will be dismotivating and discouraging. I follow the main methodological principle, one difficulty at a time. So it's very important for them.
Okay, right. I mean, as far as I understand, and if I'm correct, it's very vital for a teacher. You know?
Right, of course, of course. How about learning styles? Do you take into account how students can acquire language?
Well, in my experience, I think each student has a different approach, different method of learning, because it depends on their level, depends of their development at early stage to the current stage they are now. You know, like I say, it all depends on what the background is. Have they had any private tutoring? If they are very good at quicker learning, because I've met some students who are great at spelling, who are good at reading, you know, have a good intonation, they know where to stop, how to say it. You know, some students are not good at those things, but they could be much better at learning new topics by heart, straight from scratch. They could discuss things much easier without just expressing their thoughts, without any problems, or any worries, without making any mistakes. I also have some students who are like independent learning styles, who use their own resources at home, because nowadays you could use internet, not just going to school or private teaching. You could just be at home learning and studying a language with with the technology nowadays on your phone, on computers. So yeah, every student has a different method, different approach to learn a language. So that's my point of view.
How do you maintain discipline while teaching? Because you just teach different age, different learning style.
Yes.
How do you cope with it?
Well, I'll tell you this. Sometimes it can be a class or session can be very manic, because I'll try to keep the class with a good sort of friendly, comfortable environment, and to make sure they're all comfortable and feel free to express themselves. But they're easy. Sometimes they lose focus easily, and when we've seen, like I said, play games, board games, or have discussions, there is a moment where it could be heated, and the competitiveness kicks in, and this competitiveness, you need sometimes to cool it down. And obviously, where you have set some rules, or some sort of maybe a time frame, where student or participant knows that in 15 minutes he needs to stop, and otherwise he's going to be penalised. And obviously that works for me. It also depends on the teaching character, if your personal character, if you can control the class. If no one has interest in what you have to say, there'll be chaos, there'll be disruption. No one will be able to listen to you or even worry about what you have to say. So it all depends on keeping them interested. Bring and plan your lesson well. Bring all the relevant information to bring to all the to the class. If so far, I think I've been successful keeping discipline well.
Yeah, I agree, just definitely. Which activities do you find the most successful in speaking clubs?
To be frankly with you, I think, I mean, my point of view is activities such as role plays, they work very well, and also discussions. Discussions about, like I said, television shows or personal interests. Also plans. What are you planning to do this week? What are you planning, or what have you done, or have you been doing, last summer? Things that it was specific to each person. When they have something to express, to tell me. I think those activities work for me really well, because there are numerous things we do. Like I said before, mentioned before, we like I said, play board games, and there's grammar exercises and reading activities, and also even tongue twisters are, that's the most toughest thing for a student to do. English tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are, even I to do some, and it's impossible.
Right.
So for those things are definitely fun, and activities which keep them occupied.
Yeah, they should boost maybe their vocabulary, right, and make them speak. So they have like board games. They should make them speaking, right? Not
precisely. Yeah, exactly.
Talent.
Those are for just if you talk about specifically speaking club. Tongue twisters are #1 thing that works well for a student or participant to learn language much faster with greater pace and make progress.
Yeah, and enjoy it, right.
And enjoyment, of course, yes. So Natalia, how do you measure successful teaching? I mean, is it possible nowadays?
Well, it's a difficult question, and successful teaching has a large effect on learning and students' achievement, of course. I think that studying a language, it's a mutual creative process. However, lots of teachers find it difficult to implement these communicative principles in the process. They are very obsessed. They're being obsessed with the grammar-oriented approach, and they spend too much time on giving definitions of the words, and they deliver lessons as lectures. This prohibits students not to act actively in communicative activities, and if they were molded with teacher-dominated approach, they
just be more like robotic and without
right, and they it takes time for them to enjoy communication in the class, because of this fear of losing face, with making mistakes, or to express themselves not less than perfect. So it's a problem then, of course.
And I mean, I could also add, it's very important that if you make more mistakes nowadays, when you speak a language, I think it's more quickly. If you speak at a much better pace, and if you make mistakes, it's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter, because because all the thoughts will come to your mind, and it would just, it's part of our nature. We learn from mistakes. If you don't make any mistakes in a language, you will never learn absolutely where you've gone wrong.
Right.
So, yeah, so I think it's like I have, for example, one of the students said to me that if they waste time thinking about their mistakes, it's going to be they would never be able to come just breach that moment, you know, to come through to the next level of learning language. So you need to completely have the full confidence and forget about the mistakes and just learn. Just.
Okay, Wim, what do you think? What or which qualities do students look for in their teachers?
Okay, it's also one of those difficult questions because it depends on, I think, it depends on the student really. But I think, in my point of view, one key aspect or basic principles that teachers should be fair. So fairness is one thing that you should value in your class. You can never be biased to anyone. You treat all your children fairly, equally, because that equality is just one number thing. Because children, students, or even adults, to be honest, they can feel that vibe from you if you're not fair to them, but you are favourite to someone else. So it's very important to keep that friendly environment with all, everyone. Also, consistency and sense of humour. The teacher, I think, needs to have that sort of magic and be funny and humorous and bring that vibe to and forget whatever happens in personal life. Never bring that to work and be always happy and chirpy and bring an emotional, happy vibe to the class, to the session. So so the participants can seek from that. They can actually feel and enjoy the lesson. And also one thing is passion. I think passion for the subject. This one thing that if you have got no passion within yourself, just down in, you just don't. You will never. You have no interest. And if you have no interest in the class or in the people that you teach, then it's not going to work well. And like I said, you like a picture. They see that when you come to the classroom, they see that you have the passion. You want to teach them. You want to show them how it's done. You plan your lesson. I think it's very important to have the passion as a teacher or as a tutor. It's very important.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Then students pick up this passion from the teacher, right? And they get motivated, they get willing to do something, right? To work.
Absolutely.
Right.
It keeps them going.
It keeps them going, right. It keeps them going, okay.
So, Natalia, and also this question for you, do you prefer to work with one student at a time or a group of 10, for instance, or a class of 10 students? I mean,
Well, as a matter of fact, it of course it depends on the teacher how he or she implements his communicative principles into the learning process. And of course, it's impossible to implement them. Such activities like pair group work or other cooperative activities in group bigger than 12 students, and of course as well as one individual. So for me, it's no problem to work with 10 students. It's ideal, I think. And I prefer to work with students who are just willing to do something, cooperative and engaged, of course.
Okay, probably definitely could actually agree with you on that. That I have the same view as you. That 10 students is ideal for a class, and
you can break them in groups, right?
Of course, you can break them in 2, 3s, and just enjoy and to see which group develops and progress much better, and you can see the level. And but on the other hand, if not about preference, but I think sometimes it is good to work with one-on-one as well. It's sort of it depends on your interest, what you like to do for that student. If that student seeks help, and if you enjoy that, if for instance, in a long distance, if you've had the student over period of 5 years, and to see how much you came, and you know, that student achieves all the things, you know, in language. I'm talking about, you know, linguistics. It's amazing to you think, wow, this is my student. So there's there's two sides of the coin, like we say.
Yeah, if you want to pave the way for him, right, to proficiency, maybe it's
part of your achievement,
right, to develop all the skills, right, to higher level. Of course, I think that it would be of much help to do one-by-one session. But if you want to develop general, right, just to implement this
something
CLT,
personal, something for yourself, you know.
But if you want to implement a CLT, right, a method or approach, so it's more for group.
For group, definitely,
right,
absolutely. Okay, well, thank you for the interview. It's been a pleasure to be here. It's been amazing, and this has been Language Centre Success School in Brovary, 2017. So yeah, it's been great.
You're welcome.
It's been great.
Come. You're welcome. Come. We'll have a great time.
So yeah,
we'll be glad to see you among our students, right?
So I'll say, okay. I'll also like say, please come. Anyone is, you know, I'll definitely with it.